Hello everyone, today in this video we'll be discussing the super important questions for web technology exam and what are the things you cannot miss at any cost. Those are the things I'll be discussing, as well as I've included some of the super important programs. So what are the programs that were asked in the previous year question papers, those I've included, as well as in the module 3 and 4. The thing is that whatever the lab programs you had studied, in that also few of the lab programs have been asked in a different format, okay, like in the question type, and few things have changed, like in the second program, if you remember, we were just increasing the size and then again decreasing the size, but here it says it should stop. So what are those variations you have to make? Those things we'll be discussing. And before starting, if you like this video, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Your support makes me helps me make more videos like this, okay. So if you are following the videos from CG, in the CG also I had done the same thing, that I'll be whatever the questions are marked here, and with the star, those are the super important questions, and the remaining questions also I'll discuss, but I'll discuss in a brief manner. The super important questions I'll be discussing in depth, and I'll be telling you what are the key concepts you need to keep in mind and how to write the answers in the answer script, okay, to get the maximum marks. And whatever the numbers I have mentioned here, that numbers are from the PDF, where in the description you can find a link where it is written 6SEM, okay, 6SEM PDFs. So in that link, if you go, there will be a folder called as 18CS63. In 18CS63, there if you go down, you will be means seeing a folder name file named as WTA1, okay, Web Technology and Applications 1. So these notes which I am referring for module 1, same notes I am referring for module 2, 3, 4 and 5. So it will be written as WTA2, WTA3, WTA4, WTA5. And this PDF which I am currently referring, this you can find in the super important folder. In the same link you can find a folder known as super important, and in that you can find a web technology web super important, like that the PDF name is, okay. So let's get started. The first module, we have two topics mainly, the HTML as well as CSS, okay. So let me give you a brief overview of the questions. Here we have 7 questions and few of them are super important. Same goes for CSS as well, few questions are super important. So let's get started with the first question, which is briefly explain the following. So there are 3 sub questions: history of markup languages, 3 aims of HTML5, HTML, XML, XHTML, doctype, PHP and WHATWG. So the answers or the hint to the answers can be found in page number 1 of the PDF. So if we go to this PDF, this PDF is from SVIT. It's a very nice PDF. There they have explained the important concepts in the red color, and the answers are written here, and the subtopics are in black color. Very nice PDF. I liked it very much. Right. So let's get started. What is HTML and what is the history of markup languages? So that information you can find here. Who who published the HTML specifications? Tim Berners-Lee in 1991, and World Wide Web Consortium, better known as W3C, was started in 1997. Then Netscape Navigator and Microsoft Explorer bought it, and they embedded that in their own systems. And soon they released the later versions of HTML also, like currently it is HTML5, right? So that's what the history of HTML is. And what is the history of markup languages? What do you mean by markup language? See, if there is a text here, and whatever you write as annotations, like mark it as bold or mark it as italics or underline it or change its font or change its color, so what are the additions you do to it, the annotations what you do, that is known as the markup, okay. So history of markup languages came into importance when there was a need to actually annotate and show what is more important text, what is less important, and what is the subtext, and what is the greater the main topic, and the heading should be separate, and the subtopics and the paragraph should be separate. For all those things we use HTML, because in HTML we will be using tags, right? So if we use tags, it will change the properties of the content which we write. So based on that, we can easily specify what is the important concept, what is the subtopics, and what is the images, and many other things. So that's the brief history of markup languages, as well as what is HTML and why is HTML needed in daily life, okay. So those are the key concepts which you can write if the question is asked in the exam, okay. Then we have a few things like XHTML, XML, and WHATWG, PHP, doctype. So that's also we'll be discussing in detail, okay. So what is XHTML? XHTML is the version where we have the XML plus HTML. XML is nothing but extensible markup language. That's an extension of HTML. By using XML, we can add more features to the existing HTML. If the HTML has 5 features, by using XML, we can make it to 5 means 5 to 10 features or 15 features. Okay. So the combination of XML and HTML was XHTML, and this had two categories. The first category was transitional and the second category was strict. Okay, in transitional it was having less syntax rules and it was more freedom, but in strict it required the exact ruling, otherwise it will not show the expected output. Okay, so that was the the competition between the two, which is more better. The strict means we will be writing it in a better format, the documentation will be very good, but if it is transitional, we will require less time, right? Because it's not required to spend more time on that. We can easily use some basic syntaxes and form the document, but the document will be not in a best format. So those were the two type of like an argument which went on in the early years of internet. So HTML versus XHTML. So at that time, what came out as the more support to HTML, because it saved a lot of time as compared to the other one, wherein we had to require the proper documentation, and it relatively was more better to use this one, because the time which we save in writing this one, that will help us do more tasks and do more innovations in the same time. Okay, so that's why the HTML got more preference, and it is still in use. And XML is nothing but a textual markup language. It also has the elements and the syntax values. Attributes must be written code, so some information is given, you can go through it. And we have HTML5, which is the current working HTML. And WHATWG is Web Hypertext Application Technology Working Group. It's a group under the group of W3C. It worked to enhance the features of HTML. Okay, and explicitly they have asked the question regarding what are the three aims of HTML5. In the previous papers, if you see, they have asked the question explicitly, what are the three main aims of HTML5, and for that they are giving 7 to 8 marks. Okay, so make sure you don't miss this question. Specify unambiguously how the browser should deal with invalid markup. If there is an invalid markup, then how the browser should deal with it. It should not show the means the user that there is an error here, but they should be able to handle that error gracefully. Okay, that's what the first aim of HTML5 is. And second is to provide an open non-proprietary programming framework via JavaScript for creating a rich web applications. So to enhance the quality of the programs, we'll be using the HTML5, and be backwards compatible with the existing web programs. Whatever the existing web programs are there, it should be compatible with that. Okay, means if it is not compatible with that, we'll be losing a lot of information and very useful web applications. Okay, so those are the three main aims of HTML5. Okay, then we have explained the structure. If you ask me the full form of DOCTYPE, it is the document type. It specifies what document type you are using, and PHP is the PHP hypertext processor, and that's a language which will be studying in more depth in the module 3 and 4. So let's move on to the next question now for explaining the structure of HTML documents. It's a very important question. Along with that, explain the HTML syntax, any 6 HTML elements. These 3 questions are very, very important. Okay, so make sure you pay attention to what I say now. And explain the structure of HTML documents, right? So it's in page number 3. So this is the structure of HTML documents. What you have to do in the script is that first write a simple HTML program. This is a very simple program wherein you have the doctype HTML you have to write, and you will be writing HTML and closing tag of HTML. Okay, and after that you will be writing in between head, and the head will be closing here. Inside the head you will be writing title. Okay, a simple program. Anyways, if even if you don't write anything here, like none of these tags, just write a simple program, then also the display will be there, a simple program. But when someone else sees your program, they will not understand, is this a title, or is this a paragraph, or is this a subtopic or the heading. They won't get to know properly, right? So that's why we follow the standards, which is first write a doctype HTML. It specifies which language you are using, and then HTML specifies the tag, the root element and then we have the head. In head we specify the title, and in the body we have the paragraph tag, which is written as follows in the paragraph tag. Okay, so you need to be very thorough with the structure of the HTML document. There is a HTML document, inside that head is there as well as the body is there. Okay, this is the structure of HTML document. After you have written this one, you can easily fill the content by just writing what is HTML tag and what is head tag, what is title tag, what is body tag, what is p tag, and why it is like head is first, then body is second. All these things, whatever comes to your mind, you can write, right? So that's what the structure of HTML document is, and further information is given here. You can go through it about the head and body, and this is about the syntax. Okay, so the next question, explain with an example, explain the HTML syntax. So this is the HTML syntax. In the HTML syntax, you will have an opening tag and a content and a closing tag. You'll have an opening tag, you'll have a content here, you'll have a closing tag. So before that, some information is given regarding the elements and attributes. So you have to write about this first. What is element, what is attribute? So if you talk about the element, this is known as the element. Okay, and what is the attribute? Attribute is what is its font size you are specifying. So this is one of the attribute, and this is the element. So whatever the attribute you specify here, that will be applied to the element present here. So that's what it's mentioned here. And the p tag is the opening and the closing tag in this case. So HTML attribute is a name value pair. See, firstly what you will write, element and attribute, then define what is an element. The term HTML element is often used interchangeably with the term tag. So I guess this is the tag and this is the element as well. So I guess this is not the element. So anyways, whatever the content is written here, you can go through it and get exactly to know what it is, what is element and what is attribute. So attribute is I'm sure about that because it's name value pair. So this is only the attribute, font size 40, and empty element also you can write about the empty element, and image is an empty element because you don't have anything else specified here, and I mean just the source is specified and there is nothing else written here. And the trailing slash is also at the same opening. It is not like separate image opening tag and separate image closing tag. It will be in the same space. So that those are the two key concepts which you can write. Which are the two key concepts? The first is explain about the element and the attribute, and give an example, then explain what is element and what is attribute. Then you can write, it's not necessary that we have to have the element opening and the closing tag separately. We can also have in the same space. For example, in the image file, as you can see, there is an opening tag as well as the closing tag in the same tag itself. Okay, so like that if you write, the content will be filled. So that's the first point, element and the attributes in HTML syntax. The second thing is about the nested HTML element. In the nesting of the HTML elements, you will be having a tag inside a tag. What I mean is, body is a tag, right? Inside the body you have p tag, h tag and div tag. Inside the div tag also you have again p tag and span tag. So this is known as nesting of the HTML tags. So a tag inside a tag. Same format you will follow. First you will write an example and then you will explain what's happening here. Okay. So those are the two things. What are the two things you will write if the questions asked from HTML syntax? The first thing what you will be writing is the elements and the attributes and give an example regarding that, and after that you will be writing nesting of elements and give an example for that as well, and explain both of this means what you have mentioned as an example. Okay. Then we have explained the 6 elements of HTML. So it's in page number 6. So some basic elements of HTML. So before that there is a semantic markup. So it's talking about the importance of HTML markup and its advantages. But the question is not asked explicitly regarding this. So I have not mentioned a question regarding this. But the question have been explicitly asked, and it's repeated one, which is regarding explain the 6 HTML elements. Okay. So which are the some basic HTML elements? I'll briefly go through it. Headings. So headings means h1, h2 tags. You know, I guess you might have used this many times when you have written the HTML program. The greater the number, the lesser the size. Like h1 will be the greatest, then h2 will be small, like till h6 it will be there. Okay. So those are the things, and the size will decrease as well as the bold, how much bold it is, that is also decreased based on the size. Okay. So here's an example. You have to give the example in this way. Write the code, and if you can write the output as well. So that was the first thing, the first HTML element, basic element, which is headings. The second one is the paragraph and divisions. As you know, what is paragraph and division? Inside the paragraph tag will have the content and the closing paragraph tag. And if you want to divide the content into two parts, like horizontally or vertically, we'll be using the div tag as well inside the paragraph tag. Okay. Or outside is the div tag, inside is the paragraph tag. That's also possible. Okay. So links, anchor tag, this is the third tag, which is the anchor tag. In the anchor tag, we can link it to some link. Okay. For example, if I write like a, and we'll be using href. Okay. What we'll be using? Href. And href will write the website link www.google.com, and after that we'll write here Google. Okay. And we'll be closing the a tag. So what happened? This is the opening a tag. Href will specify what link we have to go, and Google will be the text which is getting displayed in the place of this link. Okay, we have to write some content here, otherwise the link will be displayed as such. Then we'll be closing the a tag. So what will be happening is, it will be written Google, So this also you might have come across, like this Google will be written somewhere in the web page, and if you click this it will take you to Google, right? So the backend working of it is by using the a tag or the anchor tag. Okay, so here's the same thing. Next.html is a HTML web page link which is given to us, and click here is written. So what will happen when you click here, then it will take you to the specified HTML link. Okay, as well as you can have an image. When you click that image it will take you to some link. Okay, both can be possible like this. Okay, it will be shown in the blue color and underlined. Then we have targets within the document, so it's a subtopic, so it's not the main topic. URL relative referencing, this also is the subtopic. Here what we have is just if you are in a separate folder, see I'll explain you. If you have a folder here, okay, and the folder is A, then you have a subfolder B and C, and you have another folder D. Now currently you are in the folder C. If you specify the link, you will just specify like click here, like you will be just specifying b.html, so it will take you to this one. But if you want to go to so suppose that there is a link called D here. Inside D there is a subfolder E. So from here you just can't write e.html because e.html does not lie within the A scope. So what you will do is you will do dot slash, so it will come to the main directory, then d slash e dot html, like that you will specify the link so that it will come here. That's what the main concept they have explained here. URL relative referencing, and these are the same directories: child directory, grandchild or descendant directory, parent, ancestor, sibling, root reference, different types of directories, different examples are given. Okay, so how you will be using that referencing. So if you know the basic concept, any of these tags you can easily write. Okay, so that was about the URL referencing. Inline text elements, so there are some other elements like U, I, B, A, strong, time, small. So these are the elements which we will be using to means make the changes to the particular line. If you use U, it will make the underlined, I means italic, B means bold, A, I'm not sure about A, but strong means it will make it as strong, small will, means it will make as small. Time also I'm not sure what does time actually do. So let's see. For displaying the time and data, okay, it displays the time and data. And what was A tag? A tag, okay, it's for hyperlinks. Okay, fine. There are many other tags here. Any of these tags they can ask. Okay, so the most frequently asked tags I have mentioned in the web super important questions document, so we'll be going through that as well. So this is the image tag. In image tag we will be specifying the image source, and alt means alternate name. If the image is not displayed because of maybe internet issue, then what is the text that should be displayed? It will display as Central Park. And title means what title should display in this part below the image, what is its width, what is its height should be, that image width and height. Like that is the syntax for image tag, and you have to write this syntax and explain each point in detail. Okay, and if you can write means give a sample image output as well. Okay, like a flower or tree. Also we have character entities, like for example you will be seeing like some market name, then you will be seeing TM, or you will be seeing C like copyright, or R you will be seeing somewhere. So how do add these things? We will be adding by using these ones. Okay, and yeah, that was about the HTML basic elements. So any of these elements you can take and explain. Okay, there are many elements which we have discussed. So what I mean to say is you can even take this one. Okay, you can take even these 6 elements and explain. That's also perfectly valid. You will get the marks. Okay, so any of the elements which you can remember, just explain it. Okay, that was about the with an example. Okay, it was the 4th question. Explain any 6 HTML elements. Okay, that's what the elements were. Explain 2 types of URL referencing in HTML5 with suitable scripts. So 2 types of referencing we already discussed. What are the 2 types of referencing? Absolute referencing and relative referencing. Relative referencing means you will just write the folder name, because if you are in the same directory you will not write the whole link, but you will write the relative means just slash and that name, so that it's obviously in the same directory it will go to that path. But if you are doing some external file, you have to write from c dot hash, those the whole code URL you will write, right? So that is the absolute reference. Okay, so those are the 2 types of referencing. I guess the example is not yet mentioned, but you can find in Google or some other PDF. There it will be mentioned, but what I told is the main concept. Okay, regarding URL referencing. Then we have explain the following tags with syntax and example. Many of these tags we already discussed, so you can easily search. Like for example, if you have to search for title, what you do is you go to this PDF here and search your title. Okay, so title tag, if you see, it will be displayed like this. You can easily identify what it is for. It is for displaying the title. Okay, like that you can easily find out. So I need not explain each tag in detail because it will take a lot of time. So it's pretty simple. You can even make a small Google search. And the last important topic in HTML is the lists, which is explain the tags LIULOL with an example code. So let's have a look at the list. It's actually very simple question and very easy syntax is there, but it's an important question, okay, because it has been repeated many times. So let's have a look at the lists. Yeah, this is the list. So there are three type of list: unordered list and ordered list and just the list. Okay, so you'll be using three tags. By this example I can explain you. So unordered list will just display the list items in bold, means bullet points. So whatever the list item you want to display, you will be using li tag. Li means list item, ul means unordered list, ol means ordered list. Okay, so if you see the output, you can easily get to know what it is. Here you have mentioned ul and closing tag ul, so it is displaying in the bold. Okay, and li is the list item, so the items are displayed and what content you have to display, that is getting specified here. And in the first one, what you are doing inside the li tag, you are doing a tag, means reference tag. So I mean the anchor tag, which is taking you to some link. Okay, so that link is specified here, as well as what should be displayed in the content for the link, that is getting specified here. Okay, like home. That was for an ordered list. And for ordered list, what you will have the numberings. So if you write ol here and then write the elements here, so what it will display is the 1 2 3, and the sub points are also displayed. How is the sub points getting displayed? The this element in li element, there is another this one, another list. Okay, so this is one whole item. Inside the item there is another ordered list, so it is a sub ordered list. So a sub ordered list will be displayed as such. Okay, so that's what about the list. So basically this much only you have to write. There is nothing much, there is nothing more than this in the list. If you explain with an neat example and the syntax correct manner and the output, you will get the marks for that. Okay, so make sure you memorize the syntax and the example before going to the exam. Okay, then we have the next part, which is the CSS. So let's get started. What is the CSS and explain the benefits of CSS? It's in page number 19. Actually the benefits of CSS and what is CSS, you can write it in your own words. It's not that difficult. CSS is cascading style sheets. It's used for styling the HTML. In HTML you cannot do more than a limit, but by using CSS you can beautify it further. Okay, it means making the document more decorative. Okay, so what is the benefits of CSS? Improved control over formatting, improved site maintainability, improved accessibility, improved page download speed, improved output flexibility. Basically you have to mention these 5 points. Okay, and that was about what is CSS and explain the benefits of CSS. Next important question, what is the explain the CSS syntax and location of style sheets, which is the levels. Okay, so you can use CSS in 3 ways. So before that, let's see the syntax. So in the syntax you'll have like this. So it will be more better if I just show you the example. See in the example, p is the tag which is getting considered, and curly braces means what should happen with that tag. Color and colon red, so color will become red. Whatever is in the p tag defined as the paragraph, that will become red. Font weight will be bold, means it will be bold and red. Okay, and same goes for this one, h2 comma p, so it will be color green and the font size will be 40. And that's what these things are known as selector. Like p is the selector, and declaration is property value, and this is the declaration block, the whole block. And what is the rule getting specified? This is the whole rule, and this is the syntax of it. So if you make this means the basic architecture or the syntax of CSS, then you explain with an example what it is and write some theory about it. That should be sufficient for you. Okay, so that was about the CSS syntax, and there are some other things given in detail, like what is selector, what is properties, what is values, and yeah, basically that's all about the CSS syntax you have to mention in the answer script. Then we have the location of styles or the levels of style sheets. So 3 levels are there: inline and document level, or the internal or the external. So basically you have to explain what it is. Inline means what? You will be just having it in the same space itself. For example, there is a h2 tag called as description. So description is written here, but it is very small. You have to display it in a bigger font. Okay, what you will do is you will write h2 style is equal to font size 24 pt, then you close the tag. So what will happen, the 24 size pt font size will be applied to this one. This is known as inline because in the same line you are specifying the style. And the next one is the embedded. Embedded means internal. Internal means in the top of the HTML you will be specifying a style tag. Inside that you will be writing h1 how it should look like, h2 how it should look like, or any other element how it should look like. That is internal. And the external means you will be having a separate means file. In that you will be saving it as .css, something named .css like abc.css, and in here you will specify how should p look like and how should h1 look like. All these things you will be specifying here, and this link you will be doing with the HTML file where you have to apply the properties here, whatever you defined. So in the main HTML file what you will write is head and link rel is equal to style sheet and href is equal to style.css. Wherever you have defined, whatever name you have defined, in the same folder if you have defined, you will write style.css, otherwise you will write again that dot thing, and you will write the complete link for where the file is found. Okay, that was about the locations of CSS, 3 locations, external, internal, and inline. Okay, and the next question is explain the various selectors, a very important question again in CSS with syntax and example. So what are the various selectors present? So these are the various type of selector: element selector, class selector, ID selector, attribute, pseudo element, and contextual selector. So based on the marks you have to write this one. Okay, if they ask for 8 marks, write maximum how much you can. Okay, if they ask for 12 marks, all you have to write. So basically they give 2 marks for each question, like each point. If they ask for 6 marks, write 3. If they ask for 8 marks, write 4 or 5. If they ask for 12 marks, write 6. So there are many are there. Okay, so you can add many content regarding this. Basically what you have to write is write what the selector is, write the syntax of it, write the example and the application of where it is used. Okay, so that points I'll be discussing now. For example, for the element, by the name itself you can understand what is element selector. You are selecting a particular element. Okay, so here for example head and title is there, and style is specified as and star color blue. So whatever star means all the elements will become blue. Okay, and here it is written h1 output color red. Okay, so only the h1 will be red and rest all will be blue. So star means selecting all the elements and making it blue. So element selector means you will be selecting a particular element like h1 or star. So that is known as the selector element selector. And if you are using h1, it is a normal selector. If you are using star, that will select all the elements in the file, right? So it is known as universal element selector. The asterisk sign is known as universal element selector. That's the first point what you have to write in element selector, and an example with a syntax. Okay, so yeah, that's all about the element selector. Same goes for class selector. If you have defined like dot first in the style, first is a class name, so wherever you use as class equal to first, whatever style you define here, that will be applied to the content present here. So student info will be in italic and red. Okay, that is class selector. ID selector, again the same thing, but ID selector is used for just one element. Class selector can be used for multiple elements. Okay, so that's what the difference between the class and ID, but the output will be the same. Okay, attribute selector, particular attribute you are selecting. If I show you the example, like all the titles should be like whatever is defined here, it should be in that way. So all the titles will be there in that way. Okay, and pseudo element selector. So for example you have a link, right? See, there was a link called www.facebook.com. so when it was normal, it was blue. When you hovered over it, it will become like some other color. When you click it and again come back, it will be purple, right? So what are the things that should be defined in each of these situations? When link is there, it will select a link that have not been visited, what it should be defined as. So the syntax will be same, like instead of just a tag, you will be writing a then colon link. So what should be happen when it is link, what should be happen when it is hover, what should happen when it is checked, when it is clicked, what should happen to its first child, what should be happening to its first letter or the first line. So you are specifying what should be inside that element. Okay, means there is a tag, inside the tag specifically what should happen to that particular element, that is getting specified by the pseudo element and the pseudo class selectors. Okay, fine. And we have the contextual selectors. So contextual selector will select a particular context, like for example the descendant or the child or the siblings. Like for example, if I show you here we have first as well as p is there. So in the first wherever you use, and inside that p wherever you use, like for example Amit, easy to learn, and there is a div tag also, but in the div tag we are not using, only in p and easy to learn. In that we have defined as p, so it will be in italic and red. For example, if it was just like id is equal to first and it was p here, but it was some other like a here, like an anchor tag easy to learn. So easy to learn will be in black and it will be having a underline because it's anchor tag. So what you have defined here is first and p, right? If you're getting what I'm trying to tell, first and p, so the descendant which is p, that is only getting selected under the category first. First is this tag h1 tag, h1 tag is this much. Inside that, wherever p is there, that is only getting selected and this is getting applied. That is selecting a particular child of it. Which child? That is mentioned here, p. Okay, so if I write here a and write this one, so since this is not a, it will not display in red and italic. Only if it is a, then only it will display in red and italic. Okay, that's what the contextual selector is. You are selecting a particular context in a tag. Okay, then yeah, I guess that much is there for various selectors with syntax and example. And explain the need of cascade in CSS. Illustrate 3 principles of cascade with suitable CSS script segments. Okay, so what is cascade? So there are 3 types, 3 main things in cascade. First let me show you. Cascade means what? Remember like this. Okay, there is a mountain here and rain fall down here. Okay, so it will come down like this, right? It will come down like that. I'm not telling this by my own, it's actually there in the textbook if you see. Okay, so in this way you can easily remember, if there is rain falling here, the water will come down here, it will go to the river, right? So it is coming down like this, that is known as cascading. So what will happen is, you have a main tag defined here and the sub tag children tag is defined here, and sub children tag is also defined inside it. So what happens, whatever properties you specify here, that will be inherited by the child, again that will be inherited by the sub child. That is known as cascading. Like this it's coming, right, from top to down. That is known as cascading. Okay, so there are 3 things: inheritance and specificity and the location. Okay, these are 3 things which I have tried. Which are the 3 things which you will write if they ask about cascade? Inheritance and specificity and the location. Okay, these are 3 things which you have to mention. Now what are the key concepts you have to mention in these 3 things? Inheritance means what? You are having one thing here, the same properties of this will be taken by the other thing. That is known as inheritance. So here if you have a parent tag and the same things will be taken by the child tag inside it, that is known as inheritance. It will be applied in nesting of the tags. So all the things will not be inherited, like the margin and the border. Margin and border. Margin and border will not be inherited. The color and the font size will be inherited. Okay, just remember these 2 things: color and font will be inherited, margin and border will not be inherited. Okay, so if you have defined a body tag here and you have to define a div tag here, and if inside the body you will be using div, what will happen is will be displayed in red with Arial font and bold. So bold is because of this, Arial font because of the body tag it's defined, and it is in red because the color is red. Okay, and the border will not be there and the margin also not be there. But if you want it to be there, then what you can use is inherit. Inside the div you will write border inherit, margin inherit. So it will what it will do, it will tell the element to inherit the properties that are not normally not inheritable by explicitly specifying as inherit. Okay, so in that case it will inherit. Specificity means, first you had defined it as color as red, so it will obviously whatever is in the body tag, see this is the body tag, whatever is in the body tag it will display in the red. But what again you did is, inside the body you have div tag that is specified as blue, so blue will be taken as more reference, because what is the latest thing you define inside it, that will be taken as more priority, right? That is specificity. What is location? Location means, first you define as y to refer the y sheet, then you define it as to refer the x sheet. So based on the location means the latest is this defined, so it will take the priority for this one. Okay, and an external sheet will be there, something will be defined, internal sheet something will be defined, inline something will be defined. So first priority will be given to inline. If it is nothing is defined here, it will go to internal, something is defined or not for that. If it is not, then only it will go to external. Okay, for example, if I write here as red text, then I write here as make the text as blue, and write here as make the text as green. So what will be the output? Obviously it will be green only, because inline is defined, that will be the most priority. Okay, if it is not defined, then it will go here. If it is not defined, then it will go here, or if it is not defined here also, it will be the default color, which is black. Okay, so that is the 3 principles of cascading: inheritance, specificity, and the location. Okay, so that's what you have to mention in the CSS if they ask about the cascading, and that's an important question. Next we have the box model in CSS with its properties. So what does the box model contain and what it is? Okay, So box model means basically you have to make this diagram. Here you will have the margin, border, inside border you will have padding, then width and height. Okay, and this is the background color or the background image of the element. This is the element which is getting displayed, and whatever is in the padding, there you will have the background color or the background image. Now background image or the color of the margin, that also can be specified. Also for the border it can be specified, height and width can also be specified. Whatever can be specified, that is known as properties. So there are many properties for the background here, and for the border there are some properties, and margin and padding, and for the text styling, this is the subtopic. If you want, you can go through it, you can get some content to write in the answer script. So yeah, basically that's it. What is the differences between the margin, padding and all, that's getting specified here. Easily you can go through it and get to know what are the key concepts present here. So basically you have to write this and explain, means make this diagram for the box model and explain what the key concept regarding each of these things. Okay, it's very simple, you can go through it. So if you have got any doubt, make just put me a text on Instagram. My ID is in the description box, and make sure hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Your support helps me make more videos like this, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.